"Who put her on the tarmac?" a voice whispered behind a clipboard as the heavy rhythm of boots thudded across sun-scorched concrete. She stood alone, unmoving, back straight, chin high, eyes forward. Her hands folded tightly behind her, not a flicker of motion. Behind her loomed the hulking shadows of transport aircraft baking under the midday heat. Ahead, a retired general walked slowly with a cane, his uniform lined with honors, his eyes scanning the rows of personnel until they landed on her. He froze, one step faltered, his cane slipped from his hand and hit the ground with a sharp, unforgiving crack. Soldiers nearby startled at the sound. She didn't even blink, didn't flinch, her stare never wavered. But the general's world tilted, his face went pale. "It can't be," he whispered, like he was looking at a ghost. "She's supposed to be gone." The words traveled fast, soldiers murmured, questions floated in the air. No one had noticed her arrival that morning. No introductions, just another rotation, just another name on a list. Until now, the general's hand shook as he spoke. "What's your name, officer?" She turned slowly, her voice steady, her posture unbroken. "Lieutenant Commander Han Lee, sir." He took a breath, then stumbled back half a step, like the name had punched him in the chest. The cane still lay at his feet. Around them, the base slowed. Conversations stopped. Footsteps paused. Heads turned. Everyone knew Archon Base, and everyone knew the truth. No one came back from Archon. "You trained under Colton," the general said, his voice dry as paper. She nodded once, and surpassed him, 32 confirmed. Silence dropped like a weight. Colton was more than a legend. He was a myth. His students were rare. Surpassing him? Unheard of. The general's jaw clenched under something heavier than disbelief, guilt. "They told me you didn't make it," he said. "They said the comms were dead, no recovery. I signed the death report myself." She held his gaze, steady and calm. "Then you signed it too soon." The words lingered in the heat like smoke. No one moved. No one spoke. Even the roar of the nearby jets seemed to fade. She hadn't just survived. She had been erased, buried beneath red tape. A forgotten name in a forgotten mission. And now, without fanfare, without announcement, she stood in the open in full uniform, exactly where they said she'd never be again. The general's voice cracked. "What are you doing here?" "Waiting," she said. "For what?" She looked at him, expression unchanged. "You." His throat closed, his hands trembled. There were orders he'd buried, names he'd let go, lives signed off as necessary losses. But hers had haunted him. Not because of who she was, but because of what she represented. The soldier they lost, the one they abandoned. And she hadn't come for retribution. She didn't have to. Her presence was the retribution. She didn't raise her voice, didn't accuse. She simply stood where she was supposed to, wearing a uniform they said she'd never wear again. "Sir, is there a problem?" a young captain asked, approaching from behind. The general stared for another moment before shaking his head. "No, Captain, no problem." He turned back to her. His voice was lower now. "Welcome home." She gave no reply, just a single, razor-sharp salute, then turned away, back to her post, as if the past hadn't just collided with the present and shattered in front of every watching eye. As if she hadn't just undone years of silence with a single act of standing still. Some soldiers return with medals, others never return at all. She had done both, but on that tarmac there were no cameras, no headlines, only soldiers watching a ghost they once lost rise back into uniform. She didn't ask to be seen, she never asked to be saluted. But when she turned the corner and disappeared from sight, every man and woman knew the truth. They weren't standing in front of a survivor, they were standing in front of a reckoning. Before we end this story, let us know in the comments where you're watching from. If this story moved you, subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and drop karma in the comments below. Because some soldiers come back quietly, and some silences are louder than war.